One of the things we can do is empower people. You know, when I run across students in the college classroom and they cannot understand the simplicity of writing a paragraph, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed because there's something that should have been taken care of well before they were able to get into school. So what I'd like to do is close that gap, provide a closing of the gap by providing tutoring for parents. They're going to be the second line of defense, and I say second because most students will spend most of their time through the day with the teachers, with the education system, the bus drivers. Why don't we provide tutoring for the parents? And once we provide tutoring for the parents, they can reinforce those things that the students are being taught because they have a clue and an understanding, or at least they can find a direction to help them. In addition to that, if we look at the average student in American public schools, every single head is worth about $10,000. Why don't we provide incentive? I.e., if a student knows that I can go to school for about 2 years of public college, that is, and I can make sure that it's already paid for, I will have incentive to do better. What am I saying there? If we were to look at students that graduate early, why don't we allow that $10,000 average to go with them, to follow them? If it follows them, now most of us know when you look at community college, $10,000 will take care of community college in most cases. And so that way, they will not have this additional debt, and we'll eat into that $1 trillion of deficit that I told you about when it comes down to the student loans. So once again, provide incentive, encouragement, and have some realistic options to make sure we close that gap and increase that graduation rate. Unlike the Senate, when it comes down to revenue, that's going to come through the House of Representatives. So it's going to be people like us, whoever's elected, that's going to be in charge of making sure that we can cut this deficit. If we were to look at things now, and ironically we're in a university, so I'll use that as an example. We look at the student loan debt right now, about $1 trillion of our debt is coming from student loan debt, unpaid balances. One of the things we can do, we can make sure that we get some reasonable interest rate. And those interest rates, they're set by the U.S. Congress. They're set by people like me if elected. And so if we were to look at that, get reasonable interest rates, I've looked at some studies where people said, I would pay my loan debt off sooner if it was reasonable. So that's some of the things that we can do as congressmen. Make sure we get those student loan debts down. That's the $1 trillion we can get coming back towards us. Also, if you were to look at the prison system, it's just another example. $80 billion a year spent on the prison system. That's an average of about $260 per individual. What we can do in order to curb those numbers and get some of those billions back, which will cut in towards the deficit, make sure that things that are now considered to be felonies can be dropped down, some possibly down to misdemeanors and misdemeanor citations. And we can save there with that $80 billion. I think it's time to be reasonable and take care of the people that have sent us to D.C. to take care of them. Once again, I'm Tim Westley for U.S. Congress. God bless.